sort of delete object with the original key and the original bucket, and then you delete object again with the resize key and the resize bucket. Right? So raise your hand, how many of you did that? One. You did it.
You mean like after resize graphics and then delete?
Yeah. One, two, you did it. So raise your hand. I want to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. The second solution was, you remember what we did last week? We have the problem of undercounting. Did you guys, how do you solve the problem with a class delete object with 2 calls to delete? Is that what you did now? How did you solve the problem? There are 2 solutions for what we know. One solution is to have a class, delete a lambda, that sort of delete in the same execution. Delete the object and delete the resize object. That's what you did? I'm surprised. Okay. So just for a moment, think about what we did last week. We had the problem of uploading an object. We wanted to upload the object. And then we need also to upload the resize object. Remember? We didn't do that. We didn't put here resize and upload. We keep this as it was. And then on the S3 bucket, we add a trigger to a new function that will get the object, resize the object, upload the object in the resize bucket. Right? The second solution, so that one solution is that one. The second solution is follow the same architecture. You keep your delete, lambda delete as it was. You add in the S3 a trigger for any event that delete object. And that trigger, you have a new lambda function, which kind of that is, let's call it the lambda delete resize object, that basically delete the object. Right. So how many of you did that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Now, which one is better? And why?
This will be the second one.
Why?
Because we can have a wider range to modify the function rather than this one, which will automatically delete both the image and this one how the function will this one was
So this solution, okay? If you think about reusability, this code can only be used, this lambda can only be used in a context where you have two buckets with that specific relationship, because actually you put concrete names or concrete ways of doing that. Right? So in terms of reusability, it's a bad idea. You are doing two things which are not intrinsically related in the same component. That's not a good architecture. It solved the problem. It solved the problem, but it's not a good architecture. They will not pay you for that. That's not the reason you study software engineering. You have to always keep this in mind. Modularity, reusability, and so low coupling, the principles of good programming, of good architecture. The software engineering, you just don't solve the problem, you solve the problem with a good design. Okay. Yes? You want to say yes? So it works, but it's like, whoa. That's kind of first year. Having said that, this is also not good. Not as good as it could be. Okay? So I'm not claiming. So always, I mean, you should develop like a sense of the code that I'm writing. Could it be reused? Does it make sense to separate? Do I have a way of separating it? Because sometimes you don't have a way. Can I make it more I told you last week and the week before that in the code that I passed you originally, that's the reason I want to pass you my code, because the code is for the class, not for production. So the fact that we have the bucket hard-coded is just bad. We should have an argument in the lambda that also takes the bucket so that we can reuse that lambda. Okay? Now, let me just read so that, read to put here. So any question about why it's not such a great idea to have the two lambda? Right? In fact, if you think about it, so what is the difference between this lambda, what is the difference between this code and this code? The key and the bucket, right? So you are duplicating code. Never, and then you are duplicating code in the same class. They are going to give you a medal. Okay. So let me just, I copy from somewhere. Let's see if we can read this, and let's see if we can understand in the context of the exercise. Okay, so it's saying, so I think this is just, I just copy from, I don't know, Gemini or whatever, but anyway, it's the question is, I think the question is, what is a good lambda or a bad lambda? And obviously, most of the answer is what you know from software engineering. And there are a few things that are specific to the technology of lambda. Okay? So they say a good lambda involves a stateless. What is a stateless? What does it mean stateless? In the lambda. So basically what it's going to say later is that I don't think we had that problem here, but certainly we don't. You don't, so if you need to keep some information that the lambda need to use next time, you put it somewhere else S3 database. You don't put it. I can't. You don't put it in the code. So the lambda needs to be stateless. What happens if the lambda is not stateless? If it's not stateless, it means that it needs to be running all the time to keep the state in the memory, right? Which is going to be, you are going to pay a lot. So the lambda needs to be stateless. Okay? Single purpose. What goes against single purpose? Do too many things at the same time, and certainly this is an example. I put it that way, not because of that. I was not thinking you were going to do that. But because of this, that I will criticize the current solution. Okay? But I was not thinking that you were going to do that. So, you are doing two things in the same lambda. That's not single purpose. I mean, two different things, two things that are not intrinsically related, that are loosely coupled things that should not depend on other things, and rely on services for complex logic. What does it mean, complex logic? So this is not complex, but where in this solution you code the logic in the lambda. In this case, the logic is very simple. The logic is after you do this, you do that. In this solution, where is the logic? Where we have written after this, do that? In the outside the code. It's in the trigger. That helps. So there's always this. Now, whether that is a great idea or not, it can be argued. But the idea is, what does it mean separate the logic from the code? You put it in a service. In this case, the AWS service of triggering events outside. If you put it outside, what it means is that you can use the core thing. If you put the logic inside, as you did here, you can only use this in this lambda. You cannot reuse it. And you cannot reuse the whole thing. Because it has the logic inside. Right? So, decouple. Blah, blah, blah. Minimize coupling. Then there is this thing that I will discuss later. Okay. Orchestration. It's a funny term, but they may ask you about that in an interview. Orchestration. Leverage manager, the same thing, built on demand, blah, blah, blah. This problem, which you are all facing, I hope we can discuss it sometimes, how to avoid the cold starts, and that's it, that's the main thing, okay? Now, with that in mind, okay, so stateless, single purpose, rely on service for complex logic, with this more or less definition. Look at the solution. Tell me what you don't like. This is what we did, right? Upload the object, it's a lambda. Then we have another lambda that is triggered by an S3 event on when you upload, and this lambda basically get the object, resize the object, upload the object.
There's so many things.
The same criticism. We improve in the sense that the logic is out. But still, this lambda is funny. It's doing 1, 2, 3 things. So basically that lambda can only be used for that project. Yes? So we improve, okay, from the point of view of keeping the lambda simple, but still we have a lambda which is kind of a mess. Same thing Same thing, although a bit different here in the solution for the delete. You have a lambda here and you have another lambda here, which again the logic. I mean, I can use this lambda and I can use this lambda, right? But could you please tell me why you have two lambda that do the same thing? Those of you who did this solution, why do you have two lambdas? I mean, I'm pretty sure you copy the code, right? From one to another, right? You just change the name, copy the code, modify the bucket. But it's the same lambda. Why do you have two lambda? Why you didn't reuse the same lambda?
We assign permission to
Huh?
get the S3, so we need to separate the permission from to S3.
No. It cannot be because of the permission, because it cannot be, I mean, there could be some cases completely special where you really don't want this lambda to have access to certain things, but another lambda, it could be the case, but certainly it's not the case. That is not the reason. Why?
Because the bucket name is hard coded in one function.
That's for sure, but let's say that the bucket name is not hard-coded. So let's say that the bucket name, as I put here, you pass me two arguments, the key and the bucket name. Still, you need two lambda. Why?
The handle request.
What happened?
Because one take the H3 event and one take the API.
You're right. It is not a theoretical. The problem, as you said, it is not the idea. I mean, intuitively, we should think, come on, it's the same one. I should be able to use the same one. You have to have, again, that sense. Things should be that way. Many times, sometimes, so many times, we have to do things that are not the normal because the technology forced us to do funny things. And that is the case of cloud computing. When you advance, sometimes the technology is like, why on earth do I have to do this? I shouldn't do this. But because it's a lot of code that is working for you, then you sometimes need to go a bit against your intuition. In this case, if you follow this solution and you want this guy to be triggered by this guy, because this is the difference between the, I don't know where I have it. Yeah. This guy, which you are calling with a function URL, you are invoking this guy, take as a request, take an object API gateway event, and as a response, take a API gateway response event. But this guy that is triggered by S3 takes a S3 event. It's a different object, it's a different type. So then suddenly, even if it's the same thing, actually you need to modify code. That is very unsatisfactory. And it's unexpected. And it's hard to remember. And it's like, I'm gonna waste time with this. Yes. Okay? Now, and the same thing here. Okay? This is not a normal, this lambda, we cannot call it from the function URL. Because actually it takes not an API gateway event, but a S3 event, because we decide our architecture was to be triggered by a create object in the S3 bucket. Now, That is, in my point of view, unsatisfactory. It's an unsatisfactory solution in the modern times. And obviously, everything that you feel like this is unsatisfactory, the same is the feeling in many other developers. So of course AWS address that issue. Okay, we are not going to do it today because it's a bit of a mess. Okay? But the idea is the following. The idea. Then how the technology works is a bit of a mess. When I say a bit of a mess, it's very, you need to get all the syntax right. Just remember that everything is web services. All the services are web services, meaning all of them are using HTTP, and AWS decided that all of them communicate with each other using JSON. So all of them request a response in JSON. That's the reason the test for this guy takes a very funny JSON that you cannot make a mistake. While the test for this guy is the JSON that you expect, except that you have to put the value. In Google, it would be different. So that makes this not great. Anyway, going back to the question of how we can do better than this. Okay, it's the whole business of orchestration. Okay? And there is like you create an orchestra and you put things playing together. So what about the following, or the upload? What about if I able to program the following workflow? You upload the object. Once you are finished, and this thing take as an input the image that you want to upload and the bucket. Then when you finish, you pass the output, you pass to another Lambda the key that you have created, okay? And this Lambda returns the image that has been uploaded. Then you pass that image to another Lambda, which the only thing that it does is to resize the image and return the resized image. And then you call the Lambda before, which upload, but now with a new image. You see, you compare this with this. You analyze this in terms of sort of modularity. Much better, isn't it? Much better. Same thing here. Instead of this, you have this. You will have a delete object Lambda that it will just take a key and a bucket, and when it is done, it will just call again, but with a different key and a different bucket. The same. Better architecture. Okay? So for doing this, AWS developed what they call a step function. Okay, which basically the idea is more complicated than that, is that you define the workflow and bloop, all the code is generated for you to keep all this input and output between the different steps in the workflow working. It is not that nice, but that's the idea. Okay? Understood? What I want you to, so you see, solution A, solution B, solution C. All of them work, but some of them are better architecture than others. And as a software engineer, you have to think in terms of architecture. Okay? Any question about it? So, I will prepare the step function thing because it's a bit of a mess, so that we can next week, hopefully, do the third solution. Now, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure we are going to need to create new lambdas which are going to do the same thing, but the real problem with this is to set up the input-output. And as it's happened between these two guys, which we need to modify because this takes a S3 event and this takes a AP gateway event, or these two guys, which are the same code except for the input-output. So for this to work, the technology will require us to do a few things which are only needed in order for the whole thing to work. It has nothing to do with the actual, let's say, main core code of the Lambda. It has to do with the begin and the end. Okay. Any question about that?
Sorry,
Yes.
a strange question, but is there a way to modify the lambda delete object function such that like this behavior will change depending on its input parameter? For example, if it's just bucket name and the key, then it's delete in the original bucket. But if the input is from S3 trigger, then it delete the other bucket.
The answer. You give this. You give to yourself the answer.
I don't know.
Of course, you can do it. What is the only difference? What is the only thing you have to do?
Like, I need to write an if statement or possibly.
Yes, you have to write an if then else, and if you have to write an if then else in the code. Yes, but what else? What is the thing that you need to modify?
The permission.
No, the permission. Yes, the permission, but no. You need to pass. You need to. So if there is an if then else, it's because the if then else is going to check something. So you have to make sure that the input contains the information that then you can check whether I do this or that. So that's no problem. JSON, I mean, why all these guys use JSON? Because you have total freedom about, JSON is basically a bunch of key value pairs, right? Well, just put another key that say you have to do this or you have to do that. That's it. Now, that is the idea, okay? The problem is that if you are using this solution, you cannot do that. These guys are going to be different because this guy is going to take one class of object, not a class of object, and this guy is going to take another class of object. That's different from, let's say, the body that you also need to pass. It's just a different class of object. Something like that, we'll do it here if we manage to do this. Because these guys and this guy, or this guy and this guy is the same. We want it to be the same, not two different classes. Okay. Any other question? Yes.
Just an opinion
Yes.
about why the trigger is better, because since in the database we need to ensure the consistency of the data. So when we're using, because I think the solution upon this, that we can ensure the consistency between the two buckets, which the object is related to each other. So if we want to delete the things in here, and we must have the object in the precise bucket to be deleted completely. So the trigger would ensure that to happen, because we're using the trigger to input, so it has some kind of mapping between this bucket and that bucket. And so upon deletion, we must also use the trigger as well, because the solution here, it can be very inconsistent upon, if we,
So I hope you are following what he's saying. Okay, because it's an interesting discussion at the level of cloud computing. Go ahead.
I mean, in the solution, if we forgot to input the key, and if we have like 3 more buckets, some replica or something like that, and then it will be inconsistent across the statements. Like in this bucket has already been deleted, but that bucket has, and maybe the web can still render the resized image, but then when we click on download the original, it will prone to error, and which we don't know because the data inconsistency in the databases. So when you're asking why do we create the trigger, another 2 trigger, I just think about that answer, but I think it's not the right one.
Right. Any comments about the question before I comment about the comment? Any comment? Yes. So I'm gonna try to repeat what you said. And again, I'm very interested because these are the type of question that a software engineer need to address. There are different solutions, okay? And you will be paid for finding the best solution for your company, your product. When we talk about best, it's for your client, for your customer, for your product, for your colleagues. It is not. This is not a question of complexity, right? This algorithm is linear. This algorithm is exponential. This algorithm is, and then obviously linear is going to be better than exponential. This is not about that. It is not about that. You always need to take into account the context in which the requirements, okay? It's not numerical. It's not a matter of comparing numerical values. When I say better or worse, it's not numerical. Okay? So what he was saying is, and please follow the discussion. If you don't understand, stop me and I repeat, or if I don't manage to explain myself properly. So he said, the advantage of adding the trigger, right, is that whether you write the code right or wrong, if there is an object created in this folder, it will be, assuming that the lambda resize is correct, it will be created a copy in the resize bucket. So we can be sure, okay, that there will be no inconsistencies, assuming that the definition of consistency is if there is an object here, there is an object here. Suppose that is a requirement. Object here, object here. Suppose that is a requirement. Then his point is adding the trigger will add additional guarantees, or it will provide stronger guarantees that consistency is satisfied. If you don't add the trigger and you trust in the developer, you are the senior architect and you have 100 developers, all of them writing different pieces of code that add objects to the bucket, right? You have 100. So in the morning session, you gather all of them and say, hey guys, you need to write code but please, don't forget to also to resize and upload the object in the resize bucket. right? Can you do that? Now, the consistency depends on who? Huh? 100 people. 100 people who may have went to a party last night and they are not at their best at that moment and they forgot, right? But if you add the triggering in the only bucket they are touching, the 100 of them, right? Then it doesn't matter whether they add it or not because you're adding. That was your point, right?
Yeah.
Understood? Now, I have two comments about that. Now, now let's have a different scenario. Okay? You have the bucket here. This is the original bucket, and this is the resized bucket. But now you don't have the requirement of what you call consistency. You call consistency, right?
Yeah, consistency.
It's not a requirement. And it could happen that you just need it for certain application. So that bucket is used for many applications to put many things, but only for certain applications you need to resize. Then adding the trigger, okay, it's a problem.
Then we can add some conditions to the trigger as well.
You keep adding things. There are always, like what I was saying, there are always ways in any but my point is, to whether it's good or bad, depends on the context. This is always bad. Because it goes against the basic things of, and this is not so good. Because I'm doing this. What modern people do is, you go for this. And then here you put all the conditions that you want. And assuming that this orchestrates everything, you are okay. Also because having the workflow, it provides documentation about what is happening. If you put the things inside the trigger, now go and look for the trigger. But thank you for the comments, for the question. So yes, okay. It all depends whether what is the requirement. Is this a bucket that always has to have a copy, or not? Or the fact that it has a copy is just for certain application, and certain application will look for the copy, the thumbnail, and certain will not. So you don't need to do it for all of them. Depends on that. Okay. Any other question? Yes. Okay. Now, so we will try in the upcoming weeks to get this done. But in the meantime, we are gonna first. All of you have stopped your EC2, right?
Yeah.
And it's not charging anything, right? Good. Now we are gonna start with databases. Okay. But databases cost money. So if you have the EC2 and the database, you will pay. So stop the EC2. Okay. Right. So how does it work? And you can do it. This is. Okay. So I'm not gonna do it. Can you? It's that I cannot do it because I don't want to pay more. So can you create a database? So let's go. I'm gonna connect. you do it. You can follow what we're gonna do. We need a database because to complete the web application, we want to have a database that contains information related to the object that we add to the bucket, right? Like where the picture was taken, who was the author, blah, blah, blah. The typical, that cannot be put in the S3. Have to be put it in the in a database. Okay, so you go. It's very simple, but there's a few things that I need to take into account, and a few things that I need to explain briefly. So, you go. Right, so you just go on RDS, RDS, yeah, whatever. And then it has the DynamoDB, Oracle database, no, put RDS. Yeah, okay? So we are gonna use Aurora and RDS. Okay, it's a managed relational database service, meaning we are not gonna have full control. Stop here for a moment. We could have done this, and I have done it. We could have our EC2 and install MySQL in our EC2. Okay? We could have done that. It is not the sort of the cloud computing way of doing things, although it has some advantages that I can discuss some other time. So we are going to use a managed relational database service, not a database service that we manage in our EC2. So go to that, Aurora and RDS. Right. So it should be something like this. It will tell you how many instances you are. So make sure that you are in the region that you, okay? Then, right. So we are not going to do clusters. A snapshot is that you keep you do a dump of all the data. Don't do snapshot, otherwise you will pay, because it's basically keeping data. And the rest, right. So we need to go down, we need to create a database. Right, so create database. Right. So it's a standard create. No. Easy create. Yes. Then and then it gives you what database you want. Okay. MySQL, Postgres, MariaDB, MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle. We are gonna go for MySQL. RDS. Sorry. AWS has its own database engine. DynamoDB, I think, is for NoSQL, and Aurora is for SQL, but we are not going to use that. We are going to use MySQL, which I think you are more familiar with. It has its own problems. Okay. Then edition, MySQL community, fine. Yes, it's going to be free tier. So we need. This is basically what is happening here is that it's giving us. So that database engine is going to be running actually on an EC2. That's the reason if you have an EC2 and RDS is 2 EC2, and then you pay. But because we stop the other EC2, we can do this. So they will give us a D4G micro, 2 CPUs, 1 gigabyte of RAM, 20 gigabyte, and this is the price per hour. You can stop and I recommend you to stop the MySQL. Right, so then you have to give an identifier, just type whatever you want. I mean, something that makes sense. Oh, that doesn't make any sense, but that's okay. Then, it gives you, and this is important, it gives you it is not the root. Okay? It is not the root. You don't have the same power that you have when you create a database in your machine. That admin, or whatever you want to call it, just keep it admin so that it is not the root. In fact, there are certain things that you cannot do. But for the context of this class, it's not. Okay, so you do that. Next, credentials management. Now, what happened here? That, give me a second. Right, so you can use AWS Secret Manager. What is that? So of course, AWS has its own service to keep all your secrets, but it costs money, so don't do it. Don't do it for this class. Then just self-manage. Then you can change the passwords. You can change the password later. So click on auto-generate password, and then say you can view credentials after you create the database. Fine. EC2 easy connection. No, you don't want to connect to an EC2. Use default setting. It's okay. Create database. What? Okay, so view default setting. Go here. Okay, so there has to be an edit somewhere. Go down. Give me a second. What? Automatic backups. No, you don't want automatic backups. So go up. It has to be somewhere. Where? Open this, I don't think so. No, that's for sure not. That's view. No, that's for sure not. And you cannot edit that. Editable after go up. After database is created. And I cannot edit here. What? So but that's really funny. Okay, so go up. This was not like that last year. Okay, so they keep changing it. So go to standard create. So easy create basically means not easy. Then that's okay. That's okay. No, you don't want RDS support. Then free tier, yes. Okay, keep going. Right, stop. No, keep down. That's okay. That's okay. Inside configuration. Go down. That's okay. Additional configuration. Open that. No. Open the additional configuration. Right. So just remove that. Yeah. Very good. And then let me just go up. Just go etc. So just want to say so yes, so this EC2 instance is gonna have a firewall, and we want to just use the choose existing VCC group. Give me a second. I assume it creates, the default is the expected one. If not, we modify. Public access. Okay, this is important. Public access means whether you are going to be able to access your database remotely or not. Where remotely means outside AWS. So, in principle, if you say, well, actually, in principle, no. So if you say yes, what AWS is going to do is to assign a public IP so that you can connect to the database from anywhere based on the security group. You say no, it doesn't assign an IP. So basically, only from an Amazon EC2 instance that has permission to access the database, you will be able to access the database, which for today is not a great idea because we want to access the database from your laptop. So click yes. Right, let me go up. That's okay. That's okay. Go up. Don't connect, that's okay. A storage configuration, I believe this is for free, but don't put more than that. Don't put more than 20, but anyway. Okay, go down. I think the rest is okay. Right, now, this is important. How the user of the database is going to authenticate. In this case, we only have one user, which is admin. But we could create users. These users are not I am users. I'm user of the database. Okay? So, of course, later on, when we define the Lambda and everything, it's gonna be like this. But for today, we are gonna do with the password. Go down. The rest, I think, yeah, go down. Go down. Go down. Okay, create database. Okay, and now you have to wait. It takes a few minutes. Now, in the mean, have you done it? Is everybody trying? Okay, so it will. What is important when it's done is to get the password, put it somewhere, and then you should try to do MySQL. I think H. Here is the endpoint. So when the database is created, it will give you also the endpoint. The endpoint is the URL that you can use to access remotely your database. So you need the endpoint. Then you say then you put here admin. Then you say intro, and then you put the password. And then you should access your database. Okay, in the meantime, okay, in the meantime, again, you are the software engineer, you are the software architect, you have two solutions. You can have an EC2, any EC2 you want. And then you install. Please. So you're gonna answer these questions, so pay attention, I'm gonna ask you. You have an EC2, and you install your MySQL, option number 1. And then, or you create a RDS with MySQL. Which solution is better, and why? I don't know, wait, in an option.
It depends.
Of what?
It depends on the memory.
Why?
So if you have the choice,
Huh?
I'm gonna select the option 1.
You're gonna select the option 1.
Yeah.
Why?
It's cheap.
Yeah, the Chinese products are also cheap, but doesn't mean that you always buy it. Let me give you an example. If I want to access the database, suppose that I have a Lambda here. And that Lambda needs to read some information from the database. What happened? How can that Lambda access that? Suppose that, well, how does Lambda? You have to create the EC2, open the port 3306, okay? And then this Lambda will have to have the credentials written down of this guy in the code. But if we are talking about this, very, very likely, as we will see, because these two guys are both naturally related in AWS, we could give to the Lambda the role to access this. So now credentials are not written in the code, for example. That would be one. About money. If the only reason you are using this, you are using the EC2, is to host the MySQL, it is the same price. This and this is the same price as this. Without this, more or less the same price. What is not the same price is this and this. That's double. But if the only reason you have the EC2 is in order to host the SQL, then no, you don't need it. It's not cheaper. In terms of security, for sure, in the case of this solution, you will, as we will see, you can use the whole IAM infrastructure to protect the access to your RDS. You are in this solution, you take care of yourself. What happened, one more, what happened is the database grow in size. So at the beginning you have few items, but then you have many more items. What happened with the first solution? What happened with the first solution? If the database grows, what happened?
Overload.
At some point, the EC2 will have no space to store the data, right? What happens if this guy grows in size? What happens if this guy grows in size? You click a button and you get bigger. And all the migration happens automatically. In this solution, what happens if your EC2, for whatever reason, stop? What happens if the EC2 stop? And the lambda, what happens with the lambda is the EC2 stop? Cannot accept this, because the only way to go to this is through this. That is not the case here. This guy can stop, but automatically, if you configure properly, AWS provide replica. You want replica, you do it by yourself, which means you pay double. And many other things to take into account. Okay? So if you, this is used a lot, I myself have done it a lot, but as soon as you go from sort of doing things for your friends to a bit more professional, it is not sustainable. Okay? You need to take care of too many things which are not the core value of your proposal. Any other comment? So can we finish this? Can you connect? Can you connect? So open my database, open. So I say it's available, and it will tell you that's the name of your database, is the name of your whole database. Inside that database you may have databases. That's what you have, that's it, and then you have, this is the endpoint. This is what you use to connect remotely. And go to configuration. Where is your? So it's publicly accessible. Yes. That's okay. Where is your the password?
It's auto-generated, but I don't.
But it has to give it to you, right? View connection details. Okay. Copy. Right. And that's the endpoint. And then just connect. And then go to your terminal and connect. Or to whatever you have to connect. So in my case, it's MySQL or whatever you have. MySQL space H, then the endpoint. Yeah. And then no, I don't think that's the endpoint. I mean, I don't know, I don't think so. I think it's this guy. Yeah, copy that. Okay, you can also click here, okay? Right, and then space U. Right, and then admin. Space P, hyphen P, and now intro. No, don't put the password there. Then intro. Intro, enter, return. Right, remove the space. But maybe you don't have the connection, you don't have the, anybody has done it to connect? Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. So you should have, I mean, I don't know if you have the command, but you have, in my case, MySQL H, this is my endpoint, U admin P, and then you put the password. And then, if everything goes well, so if it's not connecting, it's because in my case I removed the public. Just give me a second. then to modify anything, you just click and then go to modify, and then I'm gonna modify that is public.
Do I have to mention the code in the documentation?
No.
It's optional.
Yeah. Make sure that it's publicly accessible, okay? Then when you modify, it will ask you whether you want to modify now, apply immediately, or later. You say apply immediately. And then it takes some time to. Okay, so you say modify, and you can modify things, and you have to wait until it takes time to modify. Anybody has done it? Has connected? Not yet? Why? What is the problem? That it gets doing nothing with the password.
I don't get to.
You need to get the password. So you have to type this. So you got the password probably when you created. Let's wait until this finishes. But basically, okay. So you just when you type the H, you put this, and then you should. I mean, you can put the password in the terminal, but it's not a good idea. So you just click. Huh? Okay, and you should get this. So I am in my database. You got it? The password that is your password. The password that is what when you created. When you created the thing, you create the database, right? So it should have given you a password, right? No? You need that one? Okay, so there's a way to change it again. So you go to the and then once you finish to change, you can change the password, okay? You just go to the configuration to edit or modify, go to, it's called configuration, how it's called? And then there, you can put your password, generate another password. And then what is important is after you finish, what is important is you save, and then here it tells you apply immediately. You say apply immediately. Modify. And then you have to wait until it's modified. It'll take a few minutes. So it's reset. When it finishes, then try, and you should be able to connect. Yeah. What happened there?
I change this to the public
Yes.
accessible word. When I
Type your password.
yes, I try it and
It
I
should work.
enter, but it
No.
didn't work. Because I really
There are no secrets, okay? So stop this and try again.
It worked.
It
Because
worked, right?
I want to add the bin folder to the environment variables. So it
Because you are in Microsoft.
it didn't recognize the MySQL command.
I enter it again, but
Okay. So it cannot be, right? So there has to be a problem. So show me the. But have you had to save? Have you saved?
yes,
Save. Then apply immediately. Then no, cannot modify anything. Okay, view connection detail. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
And these are the one that you are using?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
It cannot be. Try again with those. Is it working? And now my server, sorry. There is something funny. No, that's not the, that's not like, copy the endpoint, go to the, open. That's what you have to copy, that's the endpoint. No, but you put 2, remember? That's the error is telling you, you have to remove this one. Working? No? Yes. What? Okay, so you are here, right? Create that. And you are doing this, right? Say MySQL, right? And that's it, what's the problem? You don't have the data. How long have you been using your have you created another database? When you are in North Virginia, you are using North Virginia all the time? For how long have you been using your AWS? The beginning of the code? Not before. Stop the issue. So basically, it doesn't give you because you are not in the free tier anymore. How much money have you spent? Okay. Anybody else is working? Cannot connect. Cannot connect you? Why? Huh? Go to the security group. Component security, right? So no, that's not all that stuff. Go.
Because I add this inbound.
Inbound, yes, but what are you adding?
I
Yeah, you need to add that one.
Yeah, I need to add it.
Yes, for the MySQL. And it's connecting now?
Yes.
Okay, so show that. So we need to open the MySQL connection of the no?
Actually, I found the solution on Stack
Yeah, I know. So it's the same thing. So show it. So it's just that I thought the default was gonna give you that, but it doesn't give you that.
Teacher.
So show. So the thing is that the default, I thought it was going to create the access. So you go to the connectivity and security. Then you go to the default that created for us. Click there. Then go to the inbound. So sorry, click there again, right? And then in the you have this, right? You don't have this. You only have this one. Okay? Which is pretty strange because it says type everything, protocol, everything, okay, but actually it's not. So you have to edit inbound rules, and then you have to, it will give you one here, you select MySQL Aurora, and then it will give you automatically 336, custom everything, everywhere. Doesn't matter. You already have it, and that's it. And should connect.
Default đâu giờ không thấy gì. Teacher.
So basically, we are opening the port 3003, whatever it is, to connection with MySQL. It's an easy tool we need to open. I thought it was going to open at one level, but it didn't. So you have to do two things: make it public and open the firewall. Now works? Works now? Yes? Okay, so yes, I will stay here in case anybody has any question. Finish? Okay. So that's it. Class over. What happened?
I cannot pass the password.
You put the password? You don't have the password.
Yeah, I have, but it's the wrong.
You put the password and it doesn't work.
It's running.
Huh?
It's running.
No.
Oh yeah, it's running.
Yeah, so you have to connect. So you have to do what we said. You have to go to the
Firewall.
you have to open the firewall. Go to the SQL3. Okay, so can I? Okay. So you go here. Okay. Then you go connectivity. You go to the security group, which has been created for you. So that's where you have the firewalls. Then you want to work on it, so you click. Then you edit inbound rules. That's what I was saying a moment ago. So you add the rule. So it's going to be MySQL Aurora here. Everywhere on it. Save rules. That's it. Try now. Try now. Okay?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Bao nhiêu tiền vậy?
Ủa cái này có còn stop giống như cái E2 không? Nó có mở không? Mở nè. Action, có cái action.
Phải hơn bằng của anh Trang.
Nhưng mấy đứa anh này kia
Stop đó, cô đã riêng.
4 rồi. 60.
Hai ông anh hỏi thầy. Mà mình đâu có dùng EC2 đâu.
Về mua luôn.
lâu rồi thì
Biết chó đâu. Giờ mới thấy.
Mà mấy chú anh nó bị đúng không?
Đi gọi điện.
Mấy đâu thì không bị, mấy chú anh bị truyền RAM.
Có hả? Có chuyện gọi điện luôn.
Chú anh nó là 16 GB. Nó mở mấy cái tab trên, mấy cái tab luôn.
Bao nhiêu? 24 hả?
Tab room đó nè. Ta mở cái cờ.
Nhớ stop data bay. Cái đồng tiền.
You can stop it. You can stop it. You don't need to. I mean, if you don't stop it, you will lose money from your credit. So if you stop it, so it depends. Are you going to use it today? Are you going to use it today? Tomorrow? Stop it. Right? Stop it.
Có đứa bạn nào cộng không thì có thêm
Are you sure that the has to be. I don't know what
xong cái đó tao quay làm gì nữa.
Nói vậy thôi.
Ổng làm gì trên cái đập rau chứ không.
Rồi ổng
Tao quay.
ổng đang nhập cái video. Dạ ha. Dạ.
Nào anh còn với mình phải
Ừ, giống như vậy. Tầm tốt rồi đúng không? ông nói là ông kêu hồi nào ông kêu không stop rồi cái cuốn kêu stop không biết nữa mình không kêu stop thì chắc nó đang stop liền.
Được rồi. Stop. Từ nãy nó không stop.
Lúc nãy ông thầy nói không stop xong giờ nó stop.
Mới kết nối được luôn. Quá đã.
Rồi nó cứ stop liên hoành chứ không có stop hẳn. Phải chạy máy để cho nó stop. Thì đó bây giờ mình đang thắc mắc nè.
Did you put that one?